You are listening to episode 226 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you are created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Tino. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm just going to start out by saying that if you hear any noise in the background, what that is my husband deciding to pressure wash outside my window right when I'm about to start recording. I kind of did a little test and I didn't really hear much, but I did do a podcast last week. And I realized after we were finished, it was an interview, that there was something not great with my mic. And, both times, then and today, what I'm doing is I'm using one of my own tools that I preach here on the podcast and in my coaching program. And that tool is called B-. It's Friday and I have plans of what I wanted to get done today. And I'm wanting to hold myself accountable and follow through. And you know what? I don't want to have my husband stop pressure washing. I actually want that to happen. And last week, there's nothing I could do about the microphone. I felt like the content was still so good. So I put it out there, even though it wasn't perfect. So today I'm doing the same thing. In case you can hear any kind of rumbling in the background, that's what it is. But I hope that you can still hear my message and what I want to get out to you. And it is beneficial for you despite. And just to show you that I'm a product of my product. Everything that I teach you here on the podcast and the example of the coaching tool of using B-, meaning it's good enough. It doesn't have to be 100. It doesn't have to be perfect for it to be useful and helpful. So I am using that tool for myself to have peace of mind around the podcast and how it sounds. So with that said, I am really excited to talk to you today on this topic because maybe some of you don't even know that this book that I have out and available for you to purchase is even available. I want to be able to introduce you, if I haven't already, to a book that is very much connected to this podcast. If you've been a long-time listener, it will make tons of sense. And if you're new, I think you'll be happy to know that there is a resource that combines all of the content and what I share here on the podcast in book form. So if you are someone who likes to read, likes to have something tangible in your hand, or you just don't want to listen to a podcast and you like the quiet or just being able to be somewhere where you can't, either play a podcast and you want to have your book in your hands, you're going to love today. You're going to love what I'm going to share with you. I created the title of this podcast to be Create Inner Peace Daily with the Peaceful Mind Bible. And what I want you to, first of all, like I just mentioned, the Peaceful Mind Bible for Busy Moms is a book that I wrote last year. You may be familiar with the Cyclone Mom Method. That is my other book that is available. And I wrote this one and had it put together right along the same time as I was doing the Cyclone Mom Method, but it hasn't been promoted. I haven't talked about it. So I wanted to finally take a full podcast to introduce you to this resource because so many of you have told me how you love reading books. And the Peaceful Mind Bible for Busy Moms, notice the title is very similar to the Peaceful Mind Podcast for Busy Moms. So what I have done is I've created a resource where I took the first 100 episodes, I guess give or take some, and they are now condensed. I took the transcripts, the audio transcripts, and condensed each of those down into what is, out of maybe a 20 to 30 minute podcast, what is a page or two of wisdom so that you don't have to listen to an whole episode. Now, I love listening to podcasts, and I also love reading books, and there's a time and place for both of them. But in our mom lives, I wanted to create a go-to resource. This is what I picture. I picture you having this book on your bedside table. I picture it being in your glove compartment in your car for the times you're waiting for kids being picked up from either sporting events or school. You might even want one in your bathroom where you've gone to escape to get a few minutes. The point I'm making is that we need to have things instilled in our daily lives that bring us back to a place of peace if we find ourselves overwhelmed, worrying, guilty, confused. And that happens throughout the day, but we might be in the middle of something. And so I wanted to create something that you know that you have there, that there will be a piece of wisdom. I call it a treasure of wisdom. So the subtitle of the book is 100 Treasures of Wisdom for Moms to Create Inner Peace. And I want it to be a resource for you so that you have it. It's in your office. It's in your desk drawer. It's right there. It's in your kitchen. It is somewhere where at any time when you see it, or you can just bring your mind to know that it's there for you. If you're feeling out of peace and you need some help, you can go to this book. You can read a chapter or two. You can go to the table of contents and find the subject matter that you are struggling with, and you can go and get immediate help from me, your coach, because it's in book form. So I hope that you will want to purchase this book, maybe several copies. I think that it makes a wonderful gift for new moms, for moms in new stages of motherhood. I see it being given at baby showers, because all of us need to find help to be more peaceful in any capacity we can. It just helps us become more effective moms, become the moms we want to be. And the Peaceful Mind Bible book for busy moms will do just that. So let me tell you a little bit about what you will find when you own this book. Again, if you like what you hear on the podcast, you will be able to get all of the wisdom without having to go back and listen to all 100 or the first 100 podcasts. I have it broken down. They're not in order that they're on the podcast, but the chapters in the book, I have them in categories. And these are the categories. You'll find wisdom in the category of emotional well-being. So if emotionally you're not feeling well that day, you want to go to this part of the book. The next category is mindset and thoughts. Okay, this will help direct your mind and your thinking back into a more serving way for you. The next category is in part 3 is overcoming challenges. So if you have a specific challenge you're going through, you would go over to this section. Part 4 is personal growth. If you're feeling a little lackluster, or you haven't been able to have any self-care, you don't think you're reaching your goals, this is the section that you'll want to go to, personal growth. Then part 5 is productivity and organization. Let's just face it, moms, this is always on our mind, right? Getting more done and getting things cleaned up and organized. And then the last part is spirituality. This is a great group of chapters that helps bring you back to our faith and really just the number one thing that grounds us in our busy mom life. So now that I've set you up with understanding a little bit more about how this book is structured and how it can bring calm to you in the daily chaos that can be our busy mom lives, I'm going to share some exclusive excerpts from the book. And then I'll also tell you how you can grab a copy so that you can keep it handy whenever you need a peace pick-me-up, right? The Peaceful Mind Bible for Busy Moms. It really began as a way to consolidate what I believe are very rich insights from this podcast. And each episode was a step on a journey that I'm taking with you towards adding tranquility to your lives. And I think this book really distills that wisdom into bite-sized pieces for you. And it's just perfect for a quick read between your daily tasks. So I want to start from one of the passages and chapters from the first section, emotional well-being. So imagine you're a mom who's just had one of those days where everything seems to be going wrong. The kids are fighting, the house is a mess, you're on the verge of tears, feeling overwhelmed, emotionally drained. This passage is going to remind you that it's okay and natural to feel overwhelmed at times, and that these moments, they will pass. And by implementing some simple mindfulness, by going to this book and looking at perhaps how you could instill some joy into your life instead of the overwhelm, you'll be able to then regain your composure, and then you'll be ready to tackle the rest of the day with a more peaceful mindset and a more focus on creating joy for yourself. So the first part from emotional well-being I'm going to read you is the reminder. It's on page 54, the chapter that says, enjoy the journey. And if you were struggling with overwhelm that day and was just like, I just want to feel more joyful, then this is what you would find. Chapter 28, enjoy the journey. When people come to me, they usually want help to achieve something. For example, they might want a stronger marriage, a better job, or to carve out time for more self-care. There are so many things that we juggle. We have many wishes for our families and our own lives. And then we get overwhelmed and don't know where to start. But there is one misconception that I want to address today. There is no need to delay enjoyment. If we are constantly telling ourselves we have to wait to feel joy until we have accomplished something, it will be too late. We don't get the time back. Once you achieve your goal, you may feel joy, but why would you want to put off feeling that joy until you reach a specific destination? What do you gain from your life if you hold off feeling joy and happiness? Joy is all around us. We don't want to wait for something outside of us to bring it to us. We can create that joy for ourselves when we direct our brain to think thoughts that make us feel happy and joyful. And we want to enjoy the journey. When you are not enjoying it, notice that and bring yourself back into your power. Start today enjoying your one and only life. Find something good every day as you travel to your goals. Okay, so do you see how if you were just feeling overwhelmed by all there had to do, that you had to do that day, and you see this book or make it a habit to go to this book, and you flip through and read what the excerpt that I just read you, can you see how all it is a gentle reminder, and that you're like, oh yeah, right? Life is fleeting. Life is precious. What I'm feeling overwhelmed about is not, whether it's something on your list like laundry or something. It may even say, okay, well, I'm going to do the laundry, but how can I enjoy it more? Maybe I turn on and listen to a podcast. Maybe I put some music on. Maybe I make it more of a game for myself. Maybe I enlist some help. But that might happen more if you come to this reference and you get that little reminder. Okay, the next excerpt I want to read you is the category in mindset and thoughts. Perhaps you're worrying about an upcoming parent-teacher conference. Maybe you're having doubts and negative thoughts are clouding your mind right now. What I'm going to read you will challenge you to change those negative thoughts, replacing them with more constructive and confident ones. Empowering, when you're empowered, right, by this new way of thinking, you'll then approach that meeting with a whole different outlook and attitude and more likely ready to engage productively. So let's say this is you and you are ready to go ahead and feel more peaceful about that upcoming conference. So you go to the book and you go to the section on mindset and thoughts. And let's say you open up to page 75, which is chapter 41, which is called Best Friend or Bully Brain. And this is what it says. Is the voice in your head your best friend or your worst bully? When you gain awareness of the thoughts constantly going on in your head, you may be surprised how often you talk to yourself with words you would never say to your best friend or even your worst enemy. Think of your best friend now. Picture them and think of all the times you've spent together. Think of the times when things weren't so great in your life and how your friend showed up for you. If you acted like your own best friend, what kind of things would you say to yourself? This is where we want to stay most of the time. Supported, accountable, uplifted, inspired, and loved. The opposite of this is our bully brain. Unfortunately, I know far too many mamas constantly living with a bully brain, telling themselves they aren't good enough and they'll never figure it out, or that they might as well stop trying. But bullying ourselves is never the way to make a change. Just like you'd never tell your best friend they were a failure to motivate them to do something, you need to change how you think about yourself to bring out your best too. Bring awareness to the way you are talking to yourself. When you hear that bully brain talk back to it. Treat yourself with compassion and love, and I promise you'll start seeing more results in your life that you want and love. Okay, so that is the excerpt called Best Friend or Bully Brain. So notice, let's say, now we're going to go back to that parent-teacher conference that you have. Notice how you might use that particular information that doesn't seem related, but maybe you then question yourself going, oh, am I being mean to myself? Am I saying that I'm not going to be able to handle this, whatever the teacher says, or that there is going to be some bad news, or you already know when there was something, maybe your child got in trouble and your brain is saying, no, don't go there. But after reading this, you might decide to then step into your best friend brain. You might start changing the way you're talking to yourself and say things more like, you've got this. It's, you love your child. You want to be open and maybe hear what they have to say. You probably will learn something. Even if it feels like it's going to be heavy, you've done heavy things before. And, just like, I know it's hard. Notice how those are the kind of things your best friend would tell you. And you might now be able to approach this parent-teacher conference in a whole different way because you stopped and checked in with the book, the Peaceful Mind Bible, and you went to this chapter that you're helping yourself be able to change that mindset and thoughts for this particular challenge. Okay, moving on. Here's another example. I'm going to go to the section on personal growth. Here's where we tackle how to continue evolving and growing amidst the demands of parenting. So consider those moments when you feel like you're losing touch with who you are beyond being a mom. Maybe you're yearning for some personal development, but you feel stuck. Well, this part of the book offers practical advice on setting achievable personal goals. It also is set to inspire you to take small steps towards maybe a personal hobby or career aspiration and rekindling your passion for growth. And so what I'm going to read you today from this section is found in chapter 57. It's page 105. And it is called Creating a Peaceful Morning Routine. So notice how maybe when you're thinking, I'm feeling stuck, maybe it's because you realize that one of your personal goals was to be able to get some certain personal things done in the morning. So let's say that's you, and you open up the Peaceful Mind Bible and you go to this section and you find this chapter, and then this is what you will read. Have you ever felt that you simply don't have time for a peaceful morning routine? Maybe you don't consider yourself a morning person. Perhaps it just doesn't seem realistic to take the time in the morning to connect to God between making breakfast, getting the kids out the door for school, or getting ready for work and your other responsibilities. Let me tell you the good news. It is absolutely possible for you to continue your crazy busy life while keeping God as your highest priority. Can you imagine having plenty of time to connect to Him, the source of all things wonderful, every day because of how you have organized your life? Prioritizing God is what actually makes life work. And when you prioritize time with Him in the morning, you'll find a sense of peace, and even ease will arise so you can handle the rest of the day. It seems backward to pause, prioritize, and make room for prayer when there are so many things pulling for our time and attention. But what I know to be true is that when you place God at the center of your life, everything else falls into place. It is the very act of dedicating time to deepen your relationship with God that brings you all of your life's desires. Okay, now notice how with this one, I gave you this example of like losing touch with yourself and yearning for some more personal development to get unstuck. And then how it seemingly doesn't like feel like it totally might correlate, but look how it does. When I went to this chapter on creating a peaceful morning routine, it's opening up and showing to you and asking like, is that something I want? Is that something that is not going well for me? And if you're like, yeah, and then what is it? Oh, she's saying in this book to maybe prioritize God. Again, you're going to contemplate, is that happening? What if it causes you to do that right then? What if you send up a little prayer? What if you decide, no, I do want my morning routine to have a little bit more spiritual time, and then you do, and then it's in that time where you get these ideas of what you might want to do, like a new hobby or new career aspiration, or because of that morning, you then no longer are feeling stuck because you feel more creative. That wouldn't have happened if you hadn't had this new focus, and that happened on just perusing through the book and finding something that sounded interesting to help you out. It's just, again, so beautiful to know that you have something there. It's like personal coach in a book, right? A reference, a resource guide. And I love that they're small and bite-sized, and you can just, give yourself a pick-me-up during the day. Okay, the next category that I want to give you an example of is in the productivity and organization section of the book. So on days when your to-do list seems endless and you don't know where to start, the strategies that lay out here help you prioritize your tasks and manage your time more effectively. And so you're going to find tips, right, that are going to transform your chaotic day into a more structured one in this section. And then perhaps by stopping and reading one, you may accomplish tasks with less stress and a little bit more efficiency. And here is an example. I'm going to page 130 in the book, and it's titled 6 Steps to Organize Your Mind. And this one will help you then get into action so that you become more productive, which is what you're looking for. Here is what this chapter says. One of the best skills I've learned to create peace for myself is how to organize my mind. Just like physical clutter needs to be sorted, purged, and reorganized, a cluttered mind needs regular attention and care. Here are 6 steps to organize your mind, which ultimately helps you organize your life. Step 1, become aware of your thinking with a thought download. As each thought comes to your mind, write it down and observe it without judgment. Then, just like you'd empty a junk drawer, unpack all the thoughts in your mind by getting them down on paper. Step 2, examine each thought closely. Take one thought at a time and observe and evaluate if it is something you still want to keep. It can be helpful to ask questions such as, is this thought serving me? Do I really want this thought? Is this a current or outdated thought? Step 3, let go of the thoughts that are no longer useful. You'll want to overthink this process, but it can be straightforward if you practice. Just as you wouldn't choose to pick up and put on a sweater that doesn't fit, you can choose to no longer think or believe a thought that isn't serving you. Step 4, determine which thoughts will help you create what you want and upload them. Instead of a thought download, you'll want to upload new, helpful thoughts. Think of new thoughts you'd like to believe and write them down. It can be beneficial to post them somewhere you will see them often so that you can practice thinking them. Step 5, ask God for help. God provides the ultimate path to a peaceful mind, and He can guide you to new, higher ways to use your powerful thoughts. Step 6, be kind to yourself. As you begin this process of organizing your mind each day, be sure to create a space of love and compassion for yourself. Be kind by speaking more gently about yourself and ease up on any judgment that arises. Trust that the Lord has you in the palm of His hands and remain curious about the possibilities of creating an organized and peaceful mind each day. Okay, so do you see how if you were going through your day and you were starting and, you looked at your to-do list and, you see it and you're like, there's so much. I don't know if I'll get it all done. There's not enough time. And which maybe creates a feeling of stress in your body. And if you go to the book and if you flip through the pages and, use it as a resource and you land on the excerpt I just read, one, maybe you do have the time that you would take a little bit to do a thought download. Maybe you take one of the steps and you apply that right now. Maybe it is that you go to God for peace. Maybe it is that you answer one of those questions like, what am I thinking right now that's not serving me? And notice how just this quick, what was it, 1 minute, 2 minutes max for me to read that out loud or for you to consume it? But it helps fill your brain with good things and to help you kind of pivot and refocus and relook at it. And just reading something can help you think it and shift how you feel. And then you might be like, all right, now I'm ready to tackle that to-do list. Okay, the last part of the book, which is spirituality, I'm going to read you an excerpt called Seeking God's Rhythm. It's chapter 90. It's on page 161. Let's think about when you are in those quiet moments late at night and you might feel a bit disconnected to yourself after the busy day. And so this section of the book offers kind of a sanctuary. There is just some spiritual reflections and some techniques and strategies that will bring you closer to your core values, and it's going to offer you peace and a sense of connection that's going to rejuvenate your spirit. So in this Seeking God's Rhythm, this is what you'll find. It says, there is no doubt that we are a culture of busyness, and it's hard not to believe that we have to run from morning to night just to keep up. But when you're jumping nonstop from one activity to the next, you'll miss where God resides, which is in the quiet and in the silence. He is never rushed and always peaceful. God doesn't keep up with us. He is waiting for us to seek Him. If you go at one pace while God is going at another, you will always be out of sync. It is time to step off the merry-go-round and become attuned to God's rhythm. To do this, you have to be deliberate and carve out breaks from the noise of life. If you make that effort, God will meet you right there with your good intentions. And while you lean into an unhurried pace, the Lord will help you find all the right responses to your difficulties. The more peaceful you are, the more God acts now. So let's say, the day's over, right? And you go to this resource, it's on your bedside table, and you went through and you read that. What I see that is possible with it is that you will then have more conviction for yourself for the next day to go a little slower, to not see it's a problem when you're not racing all over the place. And maybe because of reading this section, you might decide to focus on capturing a few quiet moments for yourself, or take the long route somewhere, or just to drive a little slower on your way. And this, my friends, is the beauty of the Peaceful Mind Bible for Busy Moms book, where you find 100 treasures of wisdom for moms to create inner peace. I hope I've given you a little sample of how I know it can be beneficial for you, and of course, beneficial for other mom friends that you know. And for those of you who love listening to podcasts like me, you have to admit there are times when you don't want to go back and re-listen to the whole thing, or look at, see how long it is and say, I don't actually have 20 or 30 minutes. But I have compiled a resource for you, and it's this book. And I think there's a treasure trove of wisdom. I feel like hearing them over and over again is a wonderful thing to become more a part of what your brain will go to thinking. And like I mentioned before, it was inspired by the first 100 episodes of this exact podcast that you're listening to right now. And I do think in its, let's see, how many pages is there? 182. I feel like it's jam-packed with some tips and strategies that will help you find more peace, joy, and balance in your life. So I hope that you now know that it's available for you. It's available to purchase. You can get it in a paperback version. And then I do believe, but do not, like right now, my brain is just not 1,000% that it's available in a Kindle version. But yes, for sure, go check out. It is on Amazon. I believe you can buy it at Target. And again, online retailers, not the actual, stores. So Target.com, BarnesandNoble.com, you can find it. I feel like one of my books is also available at Walmart.com. So I'm not sure, it might be this one. The price of the book, I believe, is $24.99. And in my mind, I'm like, there's just priceless wisdom here. And I really do believe that each chapter will be a heaven-sent reminder for you of how vitally important it is that you make peace a priority in your busy mom life, so that you can be the calm, confident mom that God created you to be. I know when you do, you then become an example of what it is to live a happy, healthy, and holy life, which then overflows to your children and family. So I hope you will let this book be your companion with any challenge that comes your way, and know that I truly believe you weren't meant to go about this journey of motherhood alone. And I hope that you feel that I'm with you when you read this book, and it definitely raises your satisfaction in your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Okay, everyone. That is what I have for you today to introduce you to my book, in case you didn't know that it existed, The Peaceful Mind Bible for Busy Moms. And if you've made it to the end of this episode, I'm just going to give you a little some insight to something else special, is that I am currently writing a third book. And this one is on time management. It goes along with some of my work that you've seen in my course called Divine Time. And I cannot wait to be able to be talking about that on the podcast. So just a little heads up that that's coming. But for now, I hope you remember that peace is something that you can cultivate every day with the right tools and a little bit of dedicated time. And I've made this book in reference something that won't take a lot of time for you, and it does provide you with tapping into those tools that create peace. So let's all keep striving for that peace. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. I'm here for you always. If you want to take anything I've said here deeper and talk to me personally about it, please sign up for a call. But until next week, take a look at the show notes. I'll link up where you can purchase the book. And again, thank you for being here. Peace be with you always, mamas. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind podcast. If you found value in today's episode, I'd be so grateful if you could subscribe and leave a review. It not only supports the podcast, but ensures you don't miss out on future episodes packed with insights and tools to create peace of mind in your busy mom life. And if you're of the Catholic faith like me or any Christian mom seeking to feel better in any area of your life and to show up more calm, connected, and confident, I can help. Become an empowered mom who knows how to bring about the changes you desire, no matter the circumstances. Whether you need one-on-one guidance to get there, prefer a group coaching program with like-minded women, or a self-study course, I've got you covered. Explore my private one-on-one packages, join my Busy to Balance group life coaching program, or delve into my signature course, Divine Time. To find out which path is right for you, let's meet and see what's the best fit. Schedule a free call with me at danielleteenel.com or send me a direct message on Facebook or Instagram at Danielle Teenel Coaching. And also, don't forget to get your copy of my book, The Cyclone Mom Method, How to Call on Your God-Given Power to Remain Calm, in Control, and Confident as a Busy Mom. Dive into the digital and bonus audio version when you go to book.danielleteenel.com/new-book. You'll find all the details in the show notes too. Until next time, peace be with you always.